Hey, I'm here today for a book unhaul. I don't know why I still have a tag on my microphone, but I do. Book unhauls. I've got to say, I'm not the happiest today because book unhauls make me a little sad, feel a little wasteful. I feel a little bad right now, honestly. So I'm not going to go through all my book unhaul disclaimers. I do have a video where I just went ahead and said everything about how I feel about book unhauls. Well, not like the negatives that I feel right now. I just feel like I'm a cog in consumerism and that I can't help but purchase things. I don't need them and I feel very wasteful right now. I'm not getting rid of all of these books, just so you know. Those are not books that I'm getting rid of. I'm redoing my bookshelves. They're that side of the room. I had to take every book off and they've been off the shelves for like a month and a half. I was like, let me just do a book unhaul. At this point, I've already gotten rid of some books and I didn't show you those, so it would have been more. I'm trying to figure out, why do I need to keep as many books as I do? I love having books. For the books that I've read, I don't want to keep everything I've read just like as a trophy or something. That's not really for me. At this point, if I own a book that I've read, it's because I truly loved it and I would consider rereading it, or it's something that really spoke to me in a way, something that I don't want to part from. Let's get into the unhaul. First, we're going to do the things that I've read, and then we'll do the things I haven't read, and I'll kind of tell you why I'm getting rid of them, what my thought process is, how bad I feel about it. These will all be given to people that actually want to read them. All the cats are in the room with me now. Let's get into it. Tana French's The Witch Elm. I read this one for my book club, and I really enjoyed it. I will say about my book club, I've stopped purchasing the books. Instead, I'm getting them from the library nowadays because if I don't need it, I don't need it, you know? And I will purchase some of them if I can't get it on time, if it's brand new, but I'm trying to just get it through the library and not pay for it, because I can either get it physically through the library or through the Libby app or through Hoopla, because my library has Libby and Hoopla, so I can get ebooks that way as well. Works for me. This one is really hard to part from. Maybe I shouldn't. No, I put it in this pile. We're gonna live with it. It is Milkman. This is by Anna Burns. I hated this book. I despise this book. I read this in my book club and we all hated it, and I really just need to get rid of it. Honestly, I hated this book. That's it. Papiche Show. I was like, should I keep books till the end of the year that I want to get rid of? And then I was like, no, let me just get rid of them. Once again, a book club book. I had purchased this a while ago and it was my choice for book club, and I chose this one. It was very odd. A very strange book. I wouldn't say it was for me, honestly. Like, I love fantasy, but it was like heavy magical realism-esque fantasy that's for some people, not for me. It does match me really well right now, though. It's a beautiful book. I would keep it just for the beauty of this book, but it's not for me. Someone else will really love it. So All the Lovers in the Night, once again, a book club book. A lot of these books are book club books. That's just how it is. I enjoyed this book, but at the same time, I don't remember much of it. It's definitely not something that has sat with me. That kind of happens too. I won't get rid of it at first because I'm like, oh yeah, that book. And then I get to a point where I'm like, wait a second, I don't remember this very well. I should just get rid of it. Another book club book. This is The Overstory. I did enjoy this one, but at the same time, I don't really remember it very well. Read it a couple years ago. I remember liking it, but I don't think I need to keep it, honestly. This is an easy one to get rid of. Red, White, and Royal Blue. I enjoyed it, but I've been getting rid of like a good amount of my firstly book of the month things. I stopped subscribing to Book of the Month a while ago because I was like, girl, you really need to not be spending all your money on this. And so I canceled my subscription. I feel a lot better about that. This one, I've been getting rid of romance too, because it's like not something I'm going to come back to really most of the time. It was good at the time that I read it, and that's it. That's where we leave it. They're There by Tommy Orange. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but it's just not one of my favorite books. And I think someone else can really enjoy it for me. Yes. This is really cute, okay? It's really cute. Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. I love Alice Oseman, but at the same time, I don't really think I need to tote this around with me for the rest of my life. I do have some of their books still. I don't need this short story that's cute. I don't know. I love Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, but I don't need to keep the Book of the Month version. That's just how I feel. I'm just getting rid of a good amount of them. It's fine. Whatever. Another one, Malibu Rising. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, I do not need to keep it. It's a Book of the Month version, and I'm sure someone else will really love finding this or reading it, you know. Movie tie-in editions. Why? I don't love it. I don't want it on my shelf. I enjoyed the book, but I don't need it. Young adult romance, anyone? Not for me. I mean, I love this book. This was a 5-star book, I do have to say. And I would definitely recommend it, but I don't need a young adult romance sitting on my bookshelf. I should have just gotten it from the library. I really need to start just like using my library. I literally work at the library. I'm actually there every week. I'm at the library. I could just check out books. Capitalism. I don't know. Mapping the Interior. Tiny book by Stephen Graham Jones. It was good. I don't need it on my shelf. Several people are typing. I just read this a couple months ago. I enjoyed it, but it was more so one of those books that you read it and then you're like, okay, we move on with our lives. That was entertaining, kind of like watching a movie. Book Lovers. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was wonderful, but I really am getting romance off my shelves. Why? It's something I started doing a little bit ago. I started pulling them off, and that's just where we are. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Loved it. Such a good book. I love this book. And I love the whole series. I think my favorite one was the third one. Eve Brown. I don't remember the full title, but that one was my favorite. I don't have the whole series. This is a Book of the Month book as well, so I'm like, just get rid of it. Can you see me? Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I enjoyed it. I had fun with this one, but I don't need a mystery that I'm never going to read again, and I don't have anyone to force to read this. So... Bye-bye. This is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. It's a part of the Wayward Children series, but it's a library edition. I don't need it on my shelf. It literally has like Sharpie marks on it. I understand I could take the crystal cover off, but it still has the stickers, and then I have to pull the stickers off. I don't want to do it. You can't make me. Someone else will read it and they'll love it. I read this book in a day. Honestly, I read this book in a day. And I truly loved it. Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. But I'm getting rid of it. Yes. You might look at me and be like, there's something wrong with you now. There's something wrong with you. There's not. Okay. So I have 2 more books in the books I have read section, but I'm going to put those because we have a specific author that I'm getting rid of most of his books. We'll put that in the last section. So next is books I haven't read. Magnolia Park. I'm not going to tell you the whole truth behind why I'm getting rid of this, but I will say I have 2 copies of it. So we're just going to leave it at that and pretend like there's no other reason than I have 2 copies. You don't need to know any more information about that. I do not want to tell you. Thank you. Hemlock Grove. You know, this has been sitting on my shelf for so long. I've looked at it so many times and I've never thought to myself, maybe I'll read that book. I don't know how it got through so many book unhauls. It's a little insane to me because I don't understand. I watched the show. Anyways, bye. I tried to start this book many a time and was never able to get anywhere in it. Maybe it's not for me. Detective fiction, you would think I would like it. I would think I would like it. I'm really into true crime, but there's something about this one that wasn't really hitting me. I did really love Wrong Place, Wrong Time, but this was not it. Bye-bye Night Circus. I don't know why I have it. I think a lot of these books as well are books that I've always been told that I should read or felt like I should read or something. I'm not gonna... Okay, it stopped recording at some point. I don't really know when that happened. Let's go through some of the books real quick. Magnolia Parks, there's secrets that I have about this book that I can't tell you. I have 2 copies. It's a secret. Hemlock Grove, did I tell you this one yet? I saw the show. It's been sitting on my shelf for a long time and I just never got around to it. So, bye-bye. If I'm repeating myself, then I hope you enjoy it. This one I've started multiple times and just not very interested. I just haven't been able to get very far. Same person as Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Not for me. Then we have Night Circus. A lot of these books, I've got to say, are books I've always been told I should read, but I'm never going to get around to. I've read through Goodreads reviews of a lot of these as well, especially from my friends or people I'm following. And a lot of people said it's all plot, no vibes. No plot, all vibes. God damn, that's it. So we're going to get rid of it. Then we have Perfect Days. This is a horror book. I really wanted to read it, but at the same time, every time I think about reading it, makes me a little queasy because I think about it's like this man who puts a dead body in a suitcase, and I think he's like a medical examiner student, a coroner student. Anyways, autopsy, and it reminds me of that Japanese exchange student person who was in France and did bad things, and I don't like it. It makes me feel gross. I like true crime. I do enjoy it. Maybe it's a little exploitative true crime. That's a different issue for another day, but that's how I feel right now. I'm not going to read this. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Tie-in cover. This is Bridgerton's The Duke and I. Why did I buy it? I was like so sure I was going to read this book at some point, and I just like never got around to it. So I'm like, I'm not going to read it. Just be honest with yourself, Rachel. Just be honest. The next one is Big Little Lies. I loved the show. So good. And so I was like, I'm totally going to read this book. No, you're not. It's out on your shelf forever. You can get it from the library if you so dearly want to read it, which you obviously don't. Small Angels, I got this through Book of the Month. Sometimes I feel like I was just getting things through Book of the Month because it's like I felt like I had to choose something. So that's how this happened. And I was like, small town, yeah, okay. But I don't know. I read reviews and I was like, not for me. I was like, oh, you're going to read all the V. Schwab books, Rachel. No, you're not. Don't lie to yourself. This is a beautiful cover. That's why I got it. And I had no other choice that month for Book of the Month. So I was like, yeah, let me get this. I don't know. Doesn't even make sense to me why I would do that. There's something wrong with me, honestly. That's how I feel. Wilder Girls. Am I going to read this book? No. Nope. It's going to sit on my shelf forever. I don't really read young adult. It's not really going to happen. Unfortunately. Good Omens. It's a tiny paperback. I don't know. I don't want it. I can get it from the library if I so dearly want to read it. It's always there. You could say most of these books are always there that I own. I realize that. Not everything's about logic, okay? Next is Interview with the Vampire. Tiny paperback as well. No, don't need that. Don't need it on my shelf. I mean, I have other tiny paperbacks, but you know what? We don't need them all. Beast Player. I don't know. This is giving me some vibes. It looks like a graphic novel. Like, it should have been why is this not a graphic novel? It's library edition. I know, I could take the stuff off. I'm not going to, though. I've tried before. Just it's not right. It's not right. Firefly Lane. I watched the show and I was like, oh my God. I had so much fun watching that show. And then, I wouldn't say it's like the best show, but I was like, you have to read the book. No, you don't. And you're not going to, you don't want to. And that's the truth. The Merciless, these have been sitting on my shelf forever. I don't even know what they are. It's like taking away the light from me because it's like so bright on this thing. Look at that. So shiny. You could like shine me. Ooh. Hey there. Anyways, what's happening? I'm getting rid of these. I think they're like satanic cult people? I don't know what's happening in that book. I've never read it, and I have the first two. They've been sitting there forever. I keep meaning to read this book. I kept meaning to read this book. It was recommended to me by a friend, and I never got around to it. So, whatever. Getting rid of stuff. Stephen Graham Jones, Mongrels. I was like, I would have to buy all the Stephen Graham Jones books. I started really thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to read this book. I don't have to read every book an author writes. November 9th, Rachel. No. What is this? Who are you? Where are you? Why'd you do this? Fruiting Bodies and Other Fungi. It's a horror book, a horror collection. Yeah, we're going to get rid of it. Jade City. I was like, you know what? It has really good reviews. I was really into the whole like fantasy, whatever trilogy thing for a second, romantasy sort of thing. And, you know, honestly, I'm not into that. But then I started reading up the sequels to this and I was like, shit. Everyone's like, ugh, it really goes downhill. And I'm like, damn it. Damn it. The Blind Contessa's New Machine. This cover? Beautiful, beautiful. That's why I bought it. It was used. I bought it used. It's like historical. I don't read historical books. It's just not me. Just not me most of the time. This is The Redemption of Time, spinoff of Three Body Problem, but it's not by the author of Three Body Problem. So, like, I don't need to own it. Scythe. I should read this. Am I going to? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is how you lose her. I don't know what to say to you about this. The cats are playing. I'm getting rid of it. That's the end of the story, okay? Next up is my Stephen King collection. I've been working on a Stephen King collection, and then I was like, Rachel, you don't need every Stephen King book that's been published. It's like taking up so much room. And not all of them look great. And I'm not going to read them, all of them. I've read 16 Stephen King books, and I don't even own most of the ones I've read. I'm keeping a couple that I've read and a couple that I do want to read, but I don't need to own every Stephen King book because I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to read the ones I want to read. That's it. First one, Dreamcatcher. Super tiny. I don't know. I could read this one because I hear it's really bad. Pretty interesting. Interested in it being bad. Dolores Claiborne. Interesting. Gerald's Game. The sister novel to Gerald's Game in some ways. But I'm not going to read it. Christine. It's a library edition. One time I was getting a key made for my car and I was hanging out at the dealership waiting for my key to be made because my key broke. And the guy there said that he really loved this book. That's a story. I still think about it. Anyways, the Tommy Knockers. Don't need that. You don't need to own everything, Rachel. Richard Bachman, The Regulators. Nope. A.K.A. Stephen King. This is Gerald's Game. I've seen the movie. I don't need to read the book. I'm a bad booktuber, aren't I? Anyways, the Desperation sister novel to Regulators. Blah blah blah. I'm like, Rachel, you need to keep it because it's the cool edition. You don't need it. You don't want it. You're not going to read 4 Past Midnight. Rachel. And lastly, Wizard and Glasses. I think this is the only book I have in the Dark Tower series. I might have Gunslinger somewhere. I didn't see it when I went through all my books, but I kind of remember seeing it somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, I read the first 3 in this series, but not Wizard and Glass. That's why I have it. But it's not like a very pretty edition, and I can get it from the library, honestly. I'll just get it from the library if I decide I want to pick it up. There's a really big jump. It's like a story inside of a story happening with Wizard and Glass that, like, I'm like, can we just follow the actual story? Anyways, those are my thoughts on that. So those are all the books I'm getting rid of. I didn't count them. You can tell me what you think I counted. Anyways, so let me know what your thoughts are on getting rid of books, and just shame me in the comments for buying too many books, because next up we're going to do a book haul. Problems. Anyways, I'm going to try and be more mindful, try and be more thoughtful, and love you all. That is the truth and the God-given loving thing. Anyways, I believe in God. I'm an atheist. Do you need to know this right now? Okay, bye.